and we talk about how to change the world, right? And that's the coolest thing ever. So her name is Marcia Wieder. What's her name? And she is the CEO of Dream University and the founder of the Meaning Institute. And she's also the author of 14. How many, please? 14 books. And she's been teaching manifestation for 30 years. She's a best-selling author. She's been on Oprah several times. She's worked with 3 U.S. presidents. She's personally was Jack Canfield, who's the co-author of Chicken Soup for the Soul, that huge series. She was his coach for many years. She's a member of the Transformational Leadership Council and on the board of the Make-A-Wish Foundation. And she is a dear friend that I love. Please stand up. Give your heart and your soul to this amazing woman, Marcia Wieder.
Hi. So I'm thrilled to be here for many reasons, 2 of which I'll call out. One is I adore being at Peaks events. It's like I get to be the chick. You know, no PowerPoint or all experiential, but I love who you are. The energy that you bring, the love that you bring, the commitment that you bring to learn and transform. The other reason I'm really happy to be here is that Monday, so a week ago yesterday, when I opened my mouth to talk, what came out was this. For the first time ever in my life, I had acute laryngitis. And for 4 days, could not make a sound. How many of you speak? Like as part of your job, you talk? How many of you are professional speakers? You get paid to speak. So I only had that, once a year I go away and I do 3 days of fasting and silence to deepen, to connect to God, to go into my heart. It's very different when it's by choice. And I had one moment of actual panic. I went to hum, and I couldn't get a sound out of me. So this is my Marlene Dietrich voice. I canceled everything all week long, including people who come to my home to do a visionary strategy day. Clients pay me $15,000 a day to come and work with me to open to their purpose, clarify their vision, and design strategies. And I help a lot of people create 10 times, and many of them 100 times return on their investment. Those days are very important to me and what I deliver. Not to mention that it's a lot of money, and I canceled several of those this week so that I would have a voice for you. So I'm really happy to be here. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And I want you to know a deeper, more resonant voice, for some reason, is actually more trustworthy. And trust is a really critical component for building rapport. And rapport is fundamental and foundational to enrollment. And enrollment is the shortcut technique for getting people to help you manifest your dreams. And yes, I will say that all again, slower, so that you can capture it. But what I want to do right now is I'm going to show you a very simple technique. I've worked with hundreds of speakers, helping them take care of the voice. It's kind of ironic. You know, I'll tell you, I lead, this is not a sales pitch because it's closed. You can't even sign up for it. But I lead a year-long training called the Meaning Institute. And it's like a modern-day mystery school, studying the mysteries of life, the things that can't be seen and touched, like love and compassion and shadow and power. And next week, we're on our 3rd module, which is the voice initiation. And I take my work so seriously at a level of high integrity that at one level it doesn't surprise me that a new, deeper voice is coming through me. And these 5-6 days in silence, without the television, without filling myself up with more reading and books and tapes, but some real quiet time to empty has helped me become more receptive for hearing deeper wisdom. Because beneath our ego, there's deeper wisdom and insight. How many of you know that? How many of you are with me on that? You know, I want to ask one other question, and then I'll show you this little technique. How many of you have been in a training room with me before? Can I just see? Yay, are you happy I'm back? You're right in the front row. Yay, I'm happy to be back. It's good to see you again. And new friends as well. Yay, 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 Meaning Institute, yay, I love that. I love that my people are here. I love that our communities are commingling and we're becoming one world committed to global peace. That's what we're here to do. This is a time for us to, I use the acronym HAT, put on your hat. It's time to heal, awaken, and transform. No more fooling around, no more wasting time. Now, no more fooling around doesn't mean no more fun. Don't get me wrong. So the little technique, I used to put on a training called the Inspiring Speaker Training. And thousands of people would come. They would pay $5,000 for a 5-day training. We don't even offer it anymore. But one of the things, before I started working on my voice, I'm little. I know I look big up here and I'm in heels and everything, but I'm 4'11", and I'm a New Yorker. I'm a Long Island girl who talks really fast, and I used to talk like this, and my voice would be squeaky, and I would get a lot of sore throats. And then I learned a skill called deeper listening, where I could slow down. I could feel what I'm saying. If I don't care about what I'm saying, nobody else will. But it's vulnerable to feel. And a lot of us are afraid that if we really connect to what we feel, we won't be able to talk. How many of you have that? I'll get so emotional I won't be able to speak, right? So a simple technique that I was taught was to hum like you just had the most delicious meal. So let's experience the before, during, and after. So before, cup your ears so you can hear your own, no, don't cover them, cup them so you can hear yourself. And what I'm going to ask you on the count of 3 to do is to say, I am here now, okay? Just to hear your own voice. 1, 2, 3. I am here now. Good. Now, in a moment, I'm going to have you take in a deep breath, and on the exhale, you're going to go, and engage your diaphragm. So it's like you had a really delicious meal, okay? And we'll do the twice. So on the count of 3, you're going to breathe in first, and then and really engage the diaphragm, which relaxes your vocal cords. You can put your hands down for a second, and then we'll bring them back up. So we'll do it twice. So on the count of 3, you're going to first breathe in. 1, 2, 3, breathe in. Let it go. We're going to do it one more time. Breathe in on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Good. Now, you're going to bring your hands back to your ears, and you're going to say, I am here now, and see if you can hear a deeper resonance, even a little. 1, 2, 3. I am here now. How many of you could feel yourself and hear a difference? So, isn't that amazing? Now, I'm going to tell you, no matter what business you're in, speaking is one of the best skills to develop to get more clients. Your ability to articulate with clarity what you're talking about. Your ability to bring passion so you get others excited and inspired. And your ability to master the skill of enrollment is a game changer. So that's what I'm going to focus on. You're like, I want this, I want this. So here's how this is going to work. If you're not in the mastermind session during lunch, hopefully, because you're here to get every single morsel you can, to squeeze in every little piece, squeeze everything out of the sponge. If you're not in that mastermind meeting, hopefully you're in here for the bonus session, because I'm the bonus session. So sweet. So one of the things that I'm known for, that I love to do because it's so in the moment, it's so organic, and I can do so much teaching off of it, is something called laser coaching. Now, you may think that you know what laser coaching is, but there's something about being 4'11" and having been teaching for 30 years that gives me a lot of permission. And the way it works is I'll work with as many of you as I can, so you don't have to pay $15,000. You're here. You've already bought the ticket. There's no extra charge for it at all. You want to skedaddle out those doors, get your box lunch, come back in, have lunch with me, and I'm going to be moving through the room. And after lunch, I'm going to teach, so I want you to get back as soon as you can. I'm going to teach a life-changing concept that will show you how you have no competition, how you can completely rewrite your story, that whatever made you you is one of the most precious, priceless gifts you have. And then you're going to take that and marry it with the skill of enrollment that I'm going to teach you. And no matter what business you're in, no matter what dream you have, even if you are in need of a new dream, these two principles of knowing what's unique about you, profound about you, and makes you unlike anyone else in the world, married with the skill of enrollment, your ability to talk to anyone, anytime, any place about who you are, the products you have, or the services you provide, these two concepts together are going to make you unstoppable. So how many of you are going to be in here to have lunch with me today? So what I just did was enrollment. Different than selling. Enrollment is when you share what you have in a way that is meaningful and touches other people. So I'm going to give you two very simple, practical tastes of enrollment, two formulas. A left brain formula that I've taught for 30 years, that Jack Canfield brought me in to teach to his people, and a right brain formula that I actually invented on the spot last year at my big conference. So I'm going to give you both of those. Let me see if there's anything else that needs to be said before I move into that. Yes, a million things. So I'm going to take care of my throat. I have a nice sounding voice, but how many of you are liking this voice? Can I just see? How many of you can tell it's a little gritty? How many of you are sending me love and healing energy? I appreciate that. We have a saying in the speaker world, don't tell a story while you're still bleeding from it. Because really, it's not the audience's job to take care of the speaker. But in a room like this, when it's all about love, and it's all about giving and receiving, and it's all about authenticity and transparency, I'm just so happy that I can tell you that I don't usually sound like this, but I'm still ecstatic to be here. So thank you. Your story makes you uniquely you, but most of us are overly identified with it, and that's why I want you to come back to the afternoon session. I'm going to give you a simple model that's going to transform how you look at yourself and how you look at the world. And there's been a lot of conversation already about wealth and value. You know, the event that I put on where I discovered this and created this second form of enrollment is called the Wealthy Visionary Conference. And people say, but I'm not wealthy and I'm not a visionary. Why should I come? Well, if you have a dream and you want to make it bigger, you want to reach more people, have greater impact, and monetize it, I invite you right now in this moment, at this precious event, at this moment in time, to open your mind to the fact that you are a wealthy visionary. We are all always becoming who we are becoming. That's what transformation is about. It's not like we get to the end and it's like, oh, I've arrived. If you've arrived in transformation as a human, usually you're no longer on the planet. So while you're here, you still have an opportunity, gifts to share, work to do, and a sense of humor helps a lot. So enrollment is different than selling. Let me start with this piece. Here's my 5-step approach for being paid well for doing what you love. Number 1, do what you love. How can you get paid for doing what you love if you're not doing what you love? Most of us do a job so we can get money, and then in our spare time, do what we really love. And that's called a hobby. And sometimes that's the appropriate approach, but I invite you to consider that you're on a path to actually combine these two things. Because when we are bifurcated, when our attention is split in two different areas or two different businesses, we're not as effective as when we're completely coming together. So the ideal is to be paid well for doing what you love. How many of you would say you want that? Right, of course. And how many of you would say you have that? You're already being paid well for doing what you love. Okay, of smaller amounts. So we're going for enrollment. By the way, I'm on the planet to enroll you in believing in yourself. For you to remember that you were created to create, that it is your God-given birthright to create a life of joy, love, and abundance. And if you feel in your own measurement system you're falling a little short in any of those areas, joy, love, or abundance, know that you are becoming who you are becoming. Be more committed to your dreams than to your doubts, fears, or reality, and demonstrate that you're more committed to your dreams by taking action. It's not enough to just be talking about it. We'll come back to that. I mean, you guys know I've been teaching how to manifest dreams for 30 years. So I'm going to be weaving a lot of content into everything, especially into the laser coaching. Okay, so step number 1, remember 5 steps to being paid well for doing what you love. Number 1, do what you love. Number 2, value your gifts. Most of us undervalue our gifts. Number 3, and by the way, the difference in valuing what you have, there's a difference between features and benefits. A feature is, I have a home study course and it's got 6 video modules in it. The benefit is that every week you're going to be sitting down with me in front of your computer and I'm going to be walking you through step by step. The question that I'm silently asking myself to move from a feature to a benefit that builds value is, what's so great about that? So 6-part video module, workbook, feature. What's so great about that? In the comfort of your own home, at the comfort of your own pace, you can do this program. What's so great about that? So when you get busy or overwhelmed, you're not going to lose the program. It's going to be there waiting for you. What's so great about that? You can do it at your own time, your own pace. You can deepen, you can review. What's so great about that? We learn and retain more. You get the idea. So most people are out there selling you features. You're going to be practicing enrolling people by showing the value of what you bring, by expressing the benefits of working with you or buying your products or services. How many of you get the difference? Show of hands. Okay, this is a big piece. I'm going to repeat it more in different ways over the time I have with you. It's great. I have an hour and a half with you. I have 45 minutes now. We'll break for lunch, get your food, come back. I'll have another 45 minutes with you, and I'll give you as much as I can. And look, my voice is coming back. Woohoo! So, number 1, do what you love. Number 2, value your gifts. Number 3, prove that you value your gifts by charging what you're worth. Charge what you're worth. I guarantee every one of you is undercharging. I guarantee it. I've seen it for too long with too many people. Charge what you're worth, and you're priceless. Number 4, have powerful enrollment conversations. What I mean by that is be highly intentional. Explore all possibilities and make every conversation count. Be highly intentional. Be clear about what the conversation is about. What is the outcome you're hoping for? That's what I mean by highly intentional. Explore all possibilities. Don't kill somebody off because they look like your mother or the person who does your mother's hair. After a while, you start to really narrow your playing field. Develop the ability to talk to anyone, anytime, any place. And I'll tell you this. People sometimes think when I talk about my work, like, isn't that the soft work? Shouldn't I go to business school and build my business skills first? If you haven't done the inner work, the outer work doesn't stick. A huge part of what happens at the Wealthy Visionary Conferences, we're working on having you really value your gifts. Whether you work right now or not, you have value. The life that you've lived through, it's kind of like been to hell, lived to tell about it, transmuted it into love, must be here to teach about it. Want me to say that again? Raise your hand if it's true. At some point, sometime in your life, you've been to hell. Raise your hands. That's called living. Congratulations, you've been initiated. Obviously, you have lived to tell about it because here you are. How many of you have or are still transmuting it into love? Okay, lost some of you. Maybe you're not sure what that means. That's the inner work. Forgiveness, compassion, love, learning. Instead of going, what happened and what's wrong with me, instead it's what happened and what can I learn from that? That's transmuting it into love. And how many of you feel like you're here to teach about it in some way? Keep your hand up if you're a coach. Keep your hand up if you have the heart of a coach. You're committed to almost everyone in the room. I have something for you later. Keep your hand up if you know that you're a messenger. Keep your hand up if you know at some level you're an angel. Keep your hand up if you believe you have something to teach somebody in the world. You're in the right place, hands down. If you meet another doubter on the road, when I talk to people about enrollment, they say, well, should I share my dream? Should I share my idea? What if they shoot it down? If you have not dealt with your own doubt and you meet another doubter on the road, their doubt will magnify yours. But if you've dealt with your own doubt, and I've spent 30 years developing a doubt removal system that I'm going to show you in a little while how you can get that and take it home and take a little bit of me home with you and keep working on yourself and not be stopped by your doubt. Because if you've dealt with your own doubt and you meet another doubter on the road, by contrast, it becomes the opportunity to deepen your commitment and your conviction to your dream. So instead of going through life saying, I can't share my dream with that person because I don't like how they look, or they're putting off a bad vibe, or they're kind of negative, develop the capacity to talk to anyone, anytime, any place, and the obstacle called I don't have enough money will disappear. The number one way to experience ease and shortcuts on any dream is to share your dream with other people. But it's how you share it that makes all the difference in the world. If you haven't done the inner work, this is what I found. As a human species, most of us have some form of this belief called, I'm not good enough. It shows up as inadequacy out inside. It shows up as scarcity out there. So if we figure that we've got a bucket inside of us and there's a hole in the bucket called, I'm not blank enough, good enough, smart enough, whatever. I'm not enough. I'm somehow less than. If we have a hole in the bucket, if I put $1 million into that bucket, 1 million times 0 is still 0. So the inner work plugs the hole. And not only do I want to move you from feeling any sense of worthlessness, I don't want to just move you from worthlessness to worthy. I want to move you to priceless. You are a priceless, precious, and am I. We are priceless, precious children of God, put on the planet at a time for us to create. And with your beautiful heart, with the sweetness of your spirit, with the challenges that you've lived through, you have important work to do. And sometimes it's hard to let go of that old. You know, we think if we keep just trying and trying and trying, somehow we'll make it better. Trying is the evidence that you're off purpose. It's the first time I've ever said that to an audience. It's a new insight that I'm working with. It's not about will and effort, although those are really important skills. But when you're trying, it's like you're out there. The reason I call my program, I have a home study course that I'm going to offer to you that's got a coaching certification in it that's going to teach you 30 years of my life's work, including doubt removal, and how to be an inspiring speaker. Like these two programs, and tickets to my Wealthy Visionary Conference in LA. So I've been very blessed that Adam was very protective of this event, that he didn't want to make it a big salesy event. And there were only 2 people that were invited to make offers. One was Phil Town yesterday around making more money, and the other is me. And I'm really honored and privileged because what I know is that the Peaks community and the Dream University communities, we have the same heart, we have the same soul, we have the same values. So I'll talk to you more about that later. And I just was noticing that I was alluding to it without giving you any context. So surprise, I have an offer for you. It's a kick-butt offer. You know, hopefully you'll love it. It includes 2 tickets for you to join me at the Wealthy Visionary Conference, June 26th through 28th, right here in LA. So we don't have to fly across country. You can just hopefully walk, drive, or get the bus. So I'm off on like 9 tangents. Oh, the speaker piece, I wanted to tell you something. Oh, I know what it was. The difference, I was talking about trying. So the difference between being a motivational speaker and an inspirational speaker, and I know I still have to go back to step 5. I'm aware of that. So the difference between being an inspirational speaker and a motivational speaker is a motivational speaker goes out to get you. How many of you guys know Les Brown? Right? Les is a brilliant, amazing speaker, but he goes out there, Mammy's little boy, he's bringing his energy, and he's going out and getting you, and he's bringing you in. That's a particular style. An inspirational speaker opens their heart and invites you in. It's very different. It's about transparency and authenticity. Now, mastery in speaking is about range, right? So I'm not just walking back and forth on the stage, right? I'm walking, I'm stopping, and I'm speaking. And sometimes I'm in my cheerleader phase, woohoo! And sometimes I'm a little more Audrey Hepburn, or in this case, Marlene Dietrich, So, the ability to have range, like when I was all cheerleader energy, the people that were in the room that were cheerleaders were totally with me and loved it, but the people who were like, whoa, she's too much, couldn't wait to get out. When I went more into my kind of more Audrey Hepburn, a little slower, a little deeper, the people who liked that pacing loved it. The cheerleaders were pulling their skin off. So your ability to communicate to everyone is actually core and fundamental to the enrollment conversation. You don't want to be killing off somebody thinking they're not going to get your idea. You want to develop the capacity to talk to them. You don't want to, live so narrowly that you're only communicating with a few people. And by the way, whatever you can't be within yourself, you can't be within other people, which is another reason why we have to do this deep inner work so we can expand our capacity so that everybody becomes a potential. Because the game I want you to play in life is to go for 100% enrollment. Remember that old adage, shoot for the moon, settle for the stars? Now, the enrollment conversation doesn't mean you're selling people stuff all the time. It means you're bringing your gift. You lived through something challenging. You learned something meaningful. There are people that need to hear it. Develop your capacity to reach as many people as you can, to touch their hearts, and to bring your gifts in service to their healing, awakening, and transformation. And then it's good. Like, that's a good use of a life. So number 1, do what you love. Number 2, value your gifts. Number 3, prove that you value your gifts by charging what you're worth. Number 4, have powerful enrollment conversations. And number 5, repeat often. Lather, rinse, repeat. Practice. The only way to get good at enrollment is practice. So that's the left brain approach. So last year, in April, I held my Wealthy Visionary Conference. There were 500 people in the room. It's a big event. It's really exciting. It takes place in Century City. And by the way, if you sign up for the package and you can't make those dates, you can transfer the tickets to someone else, or the next one we schedule, you'll be able to transfer and come to that one. So don't let that be what keeps you from taking the package home. Yes, we'll make that work. So last year, I came out on the stage, and I was in this room full of beautiful people, and I said, the first thing I need to teach you is enrollment. Because you're here because you have a vision, you have a purpose, you have a mission, you have a calling. And your ability to find the people who resonate with your message is critical. So I said, let me teach you a right brain, simple approach to enrollment. And what I taught them generated $2 million in revenue in the room over 3 days. And it's really simple. Number 1, connect to what you care about. Because if you don't care about it, no one else will. So it means you have to open your heart and feel, why is this important to you? Why is it really important to you? That's number 1. Connect to what you care about. Number 2, communicate it clearly, which usually requires punctuation. So short sentences, clear thoughts. At my event, you'll get a chance to practice it a lot and get feedback from people. And then you get better. The only way to get good at enrollment is to practice it, and you want to practice it in a safe environment. So people are really in the right heart space. Connect to what you care about, communicate it clearly, and 3rd, make a compelling invitation for people to join you. Usually, the compelling invitation requires something that most of us are not very good at, and I think we're not very good at it because of the hole in the bucket. Making specific requests. Make a specific request. Would you like to know more? Would you be willing to schedule a lunch date with me? Can we schedule a phone appointment? Can I come over and do a demo and show you what I'm talking about? Would you do an email introduction? Make specific requests, make it easy for people to say yes, and if they say no, find out why. People say no for two reasons. You're either asking for too much or they're not clear about what you're asking for. And most of that is because we have a story inside of our head going, oh, you really shouldn't be asking for help. You really should be doing this on your own. As opposed to really stand in, this is something I really care about. Let me communicate to you what it is, which is all the value proposition. It's the benefits, not the features. And then here's what I'd like to propose. And here's my secret sauce. 7 words, I think it is. 6 words. For getting people to say yes easily. Would you be willing to explore? Would you be willing to explore? I was doing a talk at the Golden Door Spa. Love my job. And I thought I should at least go down and visit the machines. So I put on my sneakers and my shorts, and I went down to the gym, and there's the treadmill, and I get on, and I have short legs, so I'm doing my very slow miracle mile. And in walks this woman whose legs are the length of my entire body. She gets on the treadmill next to me, and she starts to do this speed racing thing. And I did the only self-respecting thing I knew to do. I turned off my machine to watch her. You go, girl! She's laughing and she's racing. So after a while, she stops. I'm like, who are you? I threw her a towel. Who are you and where'd you learn to run like that? She said, my name is Marcia Evans, and I'm a retired Rear Admiral with the U.S. Navy. I said, oh, what do you do now? She said, I'm the National Executive Director for the Girl Scouts. So I had this dream, and those lingering dreams, maybe someday dreams. So my maybe someday dream was, wouldn't it be great to work with teenagers and teach them, go to a camp, and not just teach them about ropes courses, but teach them how to make their dreams come true. So I had this moment in time for this enrollment conversation. I said, Marty, would you be willing to explore? I'm Marcia Wieder. I've written a lot of books on how to make dreams come true. This is the caring part, I've always dreamt of working with teenagers. I was a Girl Scout. Would you be willing to explore having me do some work with you and the Girl Scouts? She said, of course. So we traded cards. That was the, secure an agreement. What next step are we going to do, right? And I went and I called her, and she said, we'd love to have you. I said, would you be willing to explore helping me find a sponsor? Because I charged $15,000 for my keynotes. She hooked me up with a few people. Citizens Bank wound up sponsoring me for 5 years in a row. They paid me $15,000 to sleep in a tent. Do I look like a tent girl? But I will tell you, some of the most meaningful work that I did was having the privilege to watch these girls. And I would take a CEO woman, like the woman who ran it was in Philadelphia at Camp Minnehaha, which meant Laughing Waters. And we would match the CEO, from the Philadelphia Inquirer or the National Zoo up there with the girls. And the girls had all the inspiration and all the passion, and we're teaching the elders how to dream again. It's kind of amazing. So it's just incredible, so that now these girls know that when they go home, they say to their brothers, I want to be a veterinarian, and their brother says, that's a stupid dream. They've learned how to say, well, I don't care what you think, or what they call the California blow-off, thank you for sharing. It's my dream. Let me give you quickly the other step of enrollment, and then we're going to give you my quick handout because I'm going to wrap this portion up, and then I'm going to set you up for what we'll be doing in lunch. So if we can have the handouts ready. The other side of enrollment, the more traditional side of enrollment, is this. Number 1, you establish rapport. If people don't like you and trust you, they're not doing business with you. How many of you know that's true? Raise your hands. Establish rapport. That's the likability factor. And a deeper, more resonant voice, for some reason, builds more trust. And trust is key to rapport, and rapport is key to enrollment. Step number 2, build value. We've already talked about that. The difference between features and benefits, build value. Step number 3, overcome objections. The way you overcome objections is you do more of one and not more of two. Establish more rapport, build more value. The objection of you're too expensive goes away when you're delivering more value than you're charging for. People go, oh, that's a good investment. When I first started charging $15,000 for a day, I thought, I've got to make sure people leave with a $150,000 business plan. And several people have left with multi-million-dollar brands, names, and business plans. So I feel great. It's like I'm not an expense, I'm an investment. And when people spend that much money with you, guess what? They do what you tell them to do because there's an inherent value. So number 1, establish rapport. Number 2, build value. Number 3, overcome objections. And step number 4, secure an agreement. What are you both agreeing to? And make sure that that's really clear. And agreement goes back to making specific requests and making it easy for people to say yes. So, how many of you learned a little something about enrollment here? Okay, so let's hand out the order forms real quickly, because I'm going to do a quickie on this, but I'm not done yet. I still have a few more minutes with you. During the bonus session, the lunch break, I will be demonstrating enrollment. As I have different people raise their hand because you want to work with me through laser coaching, everything that comes out of your mouth, my friends, is an enrollment conversation. Whether you're trying to convince your spouse where you want to go on vacation, convince your children to clean up their rooms, convince somebody to sign a multi-million-dollar deal with you, and especially, let me just ask a quick question. How many of you are in direct selling and network marketing? That's all an enrollment conversation, right? So it's people only buy the products when they've only been enrolled in the products. They buy into building the business, when they really get this is about making dreams come true. I have helped thousands of people over the lifetime of my career in network marketing double and triple their monthly checks. So if you don't have a handout, could you raise your hand? Anybody? Okay, there's a whole section there. Oh, they're coming down the row. Okay. Here's what I'm going to do. I realize that some of you may not make it back from the lunch, so I wanted to do this now. Originally, I planned on doing this afternoon, but I'm going to get this in case you don't make it back and you're like, I still want this package. Here's what I've got for you. I took my 2 biggest programs, the Inspiring Speaker video training. Whether you want to be on stage as a speaker or not, speaking, I said it before, hands down, is the best way to get your message out to the world and to grow your business. We used to put on a 5-day in-depth training that focuses on content, marketing, and presentation skills. Like an entire day of my home study video course is about working on your voice and your presentation skills. You're going to learn from the man who worked with Angelina Jolie, Pierce Brosnan, and even Arnold Schwarzenegger in terms of voice and presentation, an entire day. So this is not like an hour here and an hour there. This is in depth. Those of you that want to actually write a keynote, this program will actually show you through a mind mapping process how to write from a 5-minute to a 90-minute keynote presentation. And then I go through all the shortcuts and the mistakes around being a speaker. We'll cut years off your learning curve. If you went to my website today and went to buy that program, $19.97. The second program is the Dream Coach Certification. I have trained and certified over 1,000 life coaches. Our brand is called Dream Coach Certification. This body of work is being taught in prisons, shelters, corporations, to families all over the world. If you are already a coach, this is going to add more skill. We have a structured workbook. Clients love it. A lot of our coaches who are already seasoned coaches put their clients on this workbook, and it, already was bringing freshness and new ideas. It's a 10-step process: intention, integrity, purpose, dreams, doubts, beliefs, projects, practices, building your dream team, and living a dream to come true life. And it's a video-based program led by me. So it's like I'm right there teaching you. And I'm taking you through the process while I'm teaching you how to take other people through the process. And then this is a revenue stream. Our coaches charge a minimum of $1,500 to take people through this 10-step process. So one client will 1.5 times pay for the investment that I'm asking you to make today. Both the speaking and the Dream Coach certification are programs that are designed to help you generate revenue immediately. The Wealthy Visionary Conference, I've talked about it. It's 3 days with me. I'm the only speaker. It's morning, afternoon, and evening. Going to be in Century City. It's an in-depth transformational program. It is, people tell me, one of the most profound things that they've ever attended. It's high ritual and deep. It's inner. Dream University, my company, is known about the inner. What is your purpose, your mission, and calling? And then how do we live with integrity so we can bring your essence out in the world in a way where you can touch, inspire, and impact. I'll do a lot of laser coaching over the period of 3 days. And as we get closer to the event, people pay $19.97 for a ticket to that. I'm giving you 2 tickets. So you get the Inspiring Speaker video series. These are all home-based, online, the comfort of your own home. You start them anytime. You can start and stop them anytime. They do not expire. So if you're already feeling like, oh, I have so much going on, you can start it anytime and you can restart it anytime. So you're going to get the Inspiring Speaker video, the Dream Coach certification program, and 2 tickets to the Wealthy Visionary Conference. The total value of the package is almost $8,000. You can buy it today for $997. Also, because I love you guys, if you drop down a little bit, you can do 1 payment for $997, or you can do 3 payments for $365. And because I so trust you, that as soon as you make the first payment, we will deliver all the product to you. So you don't have to wait for the second or third payment to be able to take advantage of it. We'll get it to you right away, okay? So any quick questions anybody needs to ask me about this? Yes? Yes, 3 full days, yeah. We'll probably start with a Thursday night reception that I'll throw so everybody can meet each other, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Yeah, really rich, deep, transformational. No fooling around. I mean, one of the things that I asked Jack Canfield, I said, Jack, you could hire any coach in the world. Why did you hire me? And he looked me in the eye and he said to me, you're the best. And I said, well, what makes me the best? He said, well, I love that you're funny and you're feisty. He said, but you hold my feet to the fire. And here's what I know, and you'll really experience this afternoon. I want to set you up for the laser coaching here in a minute. I trust my heart. Yeah, let me say it this way. The path to the divine is the unknown. It's really unknowable at a certain level. And the way to get onto the path to the unknown is to get comfortable with uncertainty. And the way to get comfortable with uncertainty is to develop greater self-trust. Well, one of the things that erodes self-trust is how we break agreements with ourselves and others. But one of the ways that we deepen and develop self-trust is by working on ourselves, and becoming aware of our shadow, the things that are unknown and hidden. And I'll teach this at my Wealthy Visionary event. I'll show you an amazing story, an amazing exercise for have you to really transform your story in life. I'm going to teach it to you this afternoon, but then if you want to actually do it, hopefully you'll join me in June. But what I know is this, I trust my heart. So the deal is when you come back this afternoon ready to do laser coaching, know this, if you raise your hand, I hold nothing back. I don't hold anything back. So I might answer the question that you ask, or I might be guided to answer something else. One time I bopped a guy in his third eye, and 6 months later he had a best-selling book. So it's like we want to create a space that really is inviting. So you want to bring your beautiful heart with your intention to really open and transform. But know that if you raise your hand, I'm going to get to as many people as I can. And I'm pretty quick, but I don't want to leave people hanging. So think about while you're out getting your lunchbox or doing whatever you're doing, what would be the single thing you'll want to ask me? Because as soon as you stand up, I'm going to say, what's your question? And we're going to go from there. And because a lot of you are meeting me, most of you are meeting me for the first time, what I ask is that you'll trust my heart as well. That know that what I bring is completely in service to you. I'm committed to you awakening in this moment or in this lifetime. I'm committed to you really getting your power as a creator and somebody who's here to make a contribution to really be of service. So I'm gonna leave. I'm gonna have a 2-minute closing story. Adam's gonna come up and he's gonna send you guys to lunch. You don't need to fill that out now unless you know that you want to and you can. There's a table out there. If you're like, I'm all in, fill it out. But you'll have an opportunity to do that later as well. In order to, during and after my session, in order to get the price for $9.97, you do have to sign up for it today. So, you might miss some of the laser coaching, even if you're running a little late coming back because the line was long to get your box lunch, if you know you want to be here, be here. You're welcome into the room, but I'm just know I'm going to be rocking and rolling, starting on time. And if it's just you and me, I'm starting with you. Then Adam will take you through the timing in just a second. Let me leave you with this one quick story. You know, it's interesting. I'm grateful that I actually had the time to talk to you that much about enrollment, because I said this earlier, but I want to repeat it. In order to master manifestation, you must master the skill of enrollment. How many of you now really get that? Raise your hands. Want me to say it again? Enrollment is your ability to talk to anyone, anytime, any place about your products, your services, your idea, whatever it is you're working on, in a way that inspires them to join you, to hire you, maybe even invest in you. So I'm going to ask you again. Raise your hand if you get it. In order to master manifestation, you must master the skill of enrollment. Yeah, if people don't see the value in what you're doing, they're not going to invest in you. So I was giving a talk in Portland, Oregon. This young man came up to me, and he tapped me on the shoulder, and I looked up. He was a very tall, unusual man, unusual looking, and he said to me, "Thank you for your talk today. It really touched my heart." I said, "Well, who are you? Where are you from?" He said, "I'm from Kenya, Africa. I'm part of the Maasai warrior tribe." I'm like, "Well, what are you doing in Portland?" And he said, "Well, the short story is that when I was very young, I became ill, and my mother took me to a nearby medical clinic, and the doctor there healed me. And I decided in that moment that my dream was to become a doctor. But it was impossible because there was no training available, and you didn't leave the tribe. It just wasn't done." He said, "I kept the dream alive in my heart. I shared it with everyone." He said, "I wish I knew about enrollment back then, because every time I shared my dream, people rolled their eyes, including my old family, and told me it was a fantasy and to forget it." He said, "I never forgot the dream. I kept it alive in my heart. And recently, around my 18th birthday, a visitor came from your country to my country. It turned out that he was a reporter for the Washington Post. He interviewed me. He wrote my story. It was published in the Post. And a few weeks later, I was invited to apply and was accepted at the University of Portland." And I looked at him and I said, "That must have been the happiest day of your life." He said, "Marcia, it was the worst day of my life." He said, "Because even though I was being handed this extraordinary opportunity, my family had no money. They didn't have the money to finance me to go off to America and follow some crazy dream of being a doctor. And when it looked like all hope was lost, I did the one thing I knew I needed to do. I got down on my hands and my knees, and I prayed for a miracle." And he said, "And I prayed hard. And you know what? My prayer was answered. 4 families came forward. Each one made a commitment 1 year apiece to feed me, to house me, to buy my books, to love me while I was so far from home." Well, at this point, I was just a puddle. He said, "But it wasn't until today, when I heard you speak so passionately about dreams, that I got clear about what I need to do. I need to become a doctor, of course. That's my dream. But then I must go home. I must go back to my people and be an example that no dream is impossible, especially when we gather together as a tribe." And that's what we're doing. Thank you. I just need to wrap up. Thank you. Thank you. So that's what we're doing. Your tribe. The Peak's potential is all about building tribe, all about building community. We know that in this room we have a room full of dreamers and visionaries, and my prayer and hope is that you're going to get clarity about what your dream is. If you're sitting here and thinking, "Well, my dream is to have a new dream," I'll be able to help you in the laser coaching session. Come back with clear questions. Allow me to share my God-given gifts and talents in a way that will support and serve you. God bless you. Much love. Bring Adam back up.
Marcia Wieder. Come on, everybody. Marcia, there you go.
Thank you. Thank you. I had a voice.
You have a voice. You're awesome.
I love you.